During my junior year of university, I suffered from a 6 month long bipolar manic episode. Over the course of that episode, I dealt with a wide range of delusions and hallucinations. In this video, I'm going to focus specifically on and really zoom in on 7 different delusions that I very strongly and passionately believed in while I was manic. With that being said, why don't we get right into it? So, the first one I want to talk about is I thought that I was related to John F. Kennedy. So much so that I would speak with a JFK accent, and I actually have videos on my channel called Reacting to Crazy Videos I Filmed While Manic. And I think in the second one in that series, I actually analyze a video message I had posted while manic, during which I used that JFK accent. And I utilized it everywhere, and people would even tell me that I sounded like JFK, which, looking back on, I don't think it was that close of an accent match, but in my mind, I believed that I was related to JFK, and so of course I would have an accent, right? And I had these political ambitions as well, and it wasn't just JFK that I was falsely believing I was related to. I also believed that I was related to the actor Timothy Chalamet, who's my second favorite actor. So it's interesting that I just completely glossed over my first favorite actor, Denzel Washington, and during Mania, I thought that I was related to Timothy Chalamet for some reason. And to this day, I don't know why I thought I was related to JFK. I don't know why I thought I was related to Timothy Chalamet. But I guess the JFK delusion makes a little more sense simply because I had delusions about having the government after me, and I really had to watch my six, so to speak. But that's that. At another point in my manic episode, and this was a pretty lengthy and consistent one, it didn't go away for a long time, is I believed that I was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. In the hospital notes of my first hospitalization for bipolar mania, which was like late October of 2021 to early November, like November 6th, November 3rd, something like that. I was in the hospital for 5 days, and in the hospital notes, it states something to the effect of he pronounced that he's wealthier than Andrew Carnegie, but unlike Andrew Carnegie, he respects his employees. So, something totally nonsensical like that. I would tell my fraternity brothers, because I was living in a fraternity house at the time, which probably didn't help the situation in any capacity. I would tell my fraternity brothers that I'm going to run, uh, get us a new house. And I ended up running for every single position in the chapter that was on executive committee. So at the time, I was actually the social media manager, aka public relations chair. I was also the chapter historian. I had 2 positions in the chapter, but I was now running for 2 executive positions. No, excuse me, every executive position as a crazy person. So I got those 2 positions while I was sane. I gradually lost my sanity over the course of the semester, and as a sort of finale in terms of my dealings with the frat, I ran for every position and lost for every position. So that was totally embarrassing. I promised that I would buy the fraternity a new house, and I remember one of the brothers, the Grand Master of Ceremonies, Steve, asked me, like, how are you going to go about doing this, achieving this idea of yours? And I gave a totally winded, nonsensical answer that I believed wholeheartedly. And that's the thing with mania, is you develop beliefs that you adhere to passionately, and it really bothers you when other people just don't understand what you're talking about. I would end up draining my financial accounts over the course of that semester as a direct consequence of me thinking that I had in infinite amounts of wealth. I ordered a Hummer limo at one point, which cost more than $1,000, and I didn't even pay the whole thing. And you think that would cause a moment within my mind where I think, I don't have enough to pay for this. Therefore, I'm not worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But no insight like that ever happened, unfortunately. Another delusion I had during mania is I thought that everything I was saying and everything I was doing made perfect and absolute total sense. Perfect sense. I could never say anything that's false. I was like a messiah sent from God, and I actually did engage in multiple examples of blasphemy. For one example, when I was on the Hummer limo, I held up a holy Bible and put some totally bizarre caption indicating or hinting, suggesting that I'm related to Jesus, which of course is not true. And I would have very intense arguments with specifically members of my fraternity. This is more the first few months of the episode, because this episode went on for 6 months. Early stages of the episode, I was still living in the frat house. I was interacting with brothers daily. And I was highly accusatory and antagonistic towards them. I would question their motives. I would challenge whether or not they were even good people. And that resulted in people distancing themselves from me, as you could imagine. That's totally understandable. I also thought I had like hidden knowledge. Because I am like, I was so lost. And in the moment, it was just like, I am trying to spread this hidden knowledge to others, to help them in their situations, to help the world, right? Because all the answers, I possessed every single answer, and I would share this knowledge with people through social media or in person, which was even more embarrassing. And they would just kind of give me blank stares. They could never get a word in with me. And it's very frustrating looking back on and embarrassing looking back on, but it's what happened. I thought other people just didn't understand me. And this was the most aggravating thing. It's like I was talking to a wall. These beliefs that I passionately held, others that would go through one ear and out the other, and there was like no consideration of the validity of what I was saying, which to a sane person makes total and complete sense, but to someone like myself who was deep in mania and who was dealing with elevated levels of confidence, elevated levels of energy, and dealing with all these delusions, I felt very hurt, and it impacted my psyche in an extremely detrimental way. I started feeling very alone and isolated at points. Another thing is I would argue with people on the grounds of who's correct and who's not, and more specifically, I was right on everything. I was completely in the right no matter what happened, even when I wasn't. I would stand steadfast in my delusions that I was JFK, that I had hundreds of millions of dollars, that I had this hidden knowledge that Noah's Ark is coming, that I'm related to Jesus and I'm the Messiah, all these different things. And when people challenged me, I was completely and utterly dismissive of everything that they said. They tried to be questioning and just, exercise discernment regarding the delusions I was expressing. Many people were trying to help me see the wrong in my ways, but it only aggravated me. It made me angry. It made me experience anguish. The last delusion I want to talk about, and this is the most terrifying one to me, is I didn't think anything was wrong with me. I thought the problem was with the rest of the world. I thought that everything was wrong with everyone else. I had no insight to understand that something was wrong with me. I didn't have the insight to understand that not affording the Hummer limo meant I'm not worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I still had this huge ego after I ran for every executive position in my frat and lost every position. And I felt like people were actively working against me. People were out to get me. The government was out to get me. Everyone else was just wrong about everything. And I felt in fear for my life at times because I thought my own house was wiretapped. I used to think that the fan in the bathroom had hidden cameras, and I would only change in certain parts of my apartment because the other parts were being recorded and I was being spied on. And I would look out my window and see people standing in the parking lot and think that they were part of this grand conspiracy to come after me, which of course wasn't true. So I experienced a wide array of delusions while I was manic. In this video, I wanted to highlight some very specific examples, but also some more broad, not necessarily vague, but more extensive, more comprehensive lines of thinking that I was experiencing as well. So I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, please hit that subscribe button down below. If anyone else experienced this before, or any type of delusions while manic, or if there's anything about a manic experience you want to share, don't hesitate to put it down below. We have a very open and engaging community here where we respect one another and we don't judge, but that's totally up to you if you want to share or not. I'm going to keep sharing my story because I just want to educate and spread awareness about what this condition looks like, and I want to help as many people as possible, do everything within my power to help people understand the gravity and seriousness of this illness. And in doing so, I hope to just create a more positive world. You know, I believe May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, interesting timing for posting this. I mean, not really, I guess. I mean, I post mental health videos all the time, every month, so it's not really, no. I digress. Thank you for watching. Love, light, and tranquility to all.